Between 1970 and 1982, the industry's oldest rule cracked wide open. The polished dream of respectability met the raw reality of bodies that refused to apologize. A recycled drum loop spliced to a garden hose. An 18-second breath held like a weapon. A woman's name finally appearing on a legal pad. These weren't songs about desire. They were desire. Unfiltered, physical, claiming pleasure as a birthright. The price was visible in every choice. A falsetto that erased humanity, a voice isolated in a booth with no reverb, a color barrier that required an ultimatum to break. But by 1982, the barrier had shattered. The bodies were moving. The industry had no choice but to watch. At number 14, the Bee Gees locked themselves into a studio in France to capture Stayin' Alive in 1977, and what emerged was a body stripped of humanity. Robert Stigwood wanted them soft, romantic, safe. Instead, Barry Gibb's falsetto became a sonic disguise, a voice that refused to apologize for its own strangeness. The real weapon was the drum machine, a recycled loop of tape spliced to a plastic garden hose, holding tension where a human drummer had failed. That mechanical heartbeat didn't mimic the body, it replaced it. No sweat, no breath, no vulnerability. Just survival. And the New York blackout that year had turned the city into chaos. And Stayin' Alive answered with pure robotic endurance. When you heard those drums, you felt the concrete, not the flesh. Yet something about that artificial pulse made you want to move anyway. Next, we meet an artist who chose the opposite path, raw, unfiltered confession. Number 13 belongs to Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, recorded in 1983 at the Ritz in New York City, a moment when Capitol Records tried to erase him by age. Yes, I want to know what's going on. Don Grierson looked at Marvin and saw a relic, a man whose body no longer sold records. They refused to fund a video. They refused to believe he mattered. But Marvin had already fought this war once before, against Motown's machine, against the demand that he sing only about love and God. This time, he was asking questions nobody wanted to hear. Unlike the Bee Gees' escape into falsetto artifice, Marvin's voice was present, weathered, questioning, refusing the comfort of easy answers. The material evidence was humble: a pair of boots, Lower East Side pavement, a man still moving. The resistance point wasn't just age, it was the industry's terror of a black man who wouldn't perform happiness. Next, we meet an artist who learned to weaponize her own refusal. At number 12, Al Green's Let's Stay Together arrived in 1983 as a ghost, a voice that Capitol Records had already written off. Green was 44, marked as a has-been, a man whose violent past made him unmarketable. The resistance was absolute. Age, race, and the stain of survival. But listen to what that single take captured on the 1962 Neumann U-47 microphone. A man still present and still claiming his desire without apology. The fishnet stockings and leather miniskirt in the evidence file belong to another story, another woman's refusal, but they point to the same collision. Green's body, like everybody in this countdown, had become a threat. You forever, know what Not because of what it did, but because it existed and refused to disappear. The old rule was, age yourself out gracefully, surrender the stage, and turn around and make up. Yeah. Green refused. His vocal was the argument. Next, we meet a man whose voice became a single, sustained act of defiance. Number 11 is Bill Withers' Lovely Day, recorded in July 1977 at the record plant in Los Angeles. And it's built on a single, impossible act of breath. 18 seconds, one sustained note on the word day, captured through a Neve console in a Neumann EU-87. Clarence Avon had frozen Withers' rights. Columbia Records had sued. The industry wanted him to pivot toward blaxploitation, toward disco, toward anything but this. Seemed impossible to fail. Withers refused. He insisted on the uncluttered arrangement, the acoustic guitar, the space around his voice. That 18-second note was his body speaking, I am still here. And the world's all right with me. I am still capable. I will not shrink. The 1977 blackout had plunged New York into darkness and chaos. And radio stations responded by programming optimism soul, songs that promised survival without cost. Withers' note was different. I look at you, and the world's all right. It cost everything. It was the sound of a man holding on to his own breath as an act of resistance. Next, we meet an artist who weaponized the double meaning. At number 10, Diana Ross stood in Power Station Studios in December 1979 and faced a choice that could have destroyed her career. I'm Coming Out was the song, and Berry Gordy was terrified. The LGBTQ plus subtext, the perceived alienation of heterosexual audiences, the risk of commercial suicide, all of it hung over the studio. Nile Rodgers had stripped away the Motown wall of sound, isolating Ross's voice in dry, vulnerable clarity. She burst into tears, demanded to know if this would ruin everything, then decided to lean in anyway. Unlike Bill Withers' defiant breath or Al Green's weathered presence, Ross's act was more calculated. She would own the ambiguity, let the double meaning stand. The disco Demolition Night violence in July 1979 had made dance music a liability. Black female icons were being forced to choose between obsolescence and reinvention. Ross chose the third path. She would be a superstar on her own terms, not the industry's. Her body, her sexuality, her refusal to clarify, these became her power. Like you never knew it. Oh, I'll make it through. Next, we encounter the artist who would break the color barrier itself. Number 9 is Michael Jackson's Billie Jean, November 1982, at Westlake Recording Studios. And it begins with a bass line that Quincy Jones wanted dead. Too long, too menacing, too strange. Jackson said no. The Yamaha CS80 synthesizer had been programmed to create a sound that felt isolated, alien, dangerous, not the warm Motown groove, but something that made your body tense. Jackson insisted this bass line was the reason he wanted to get up and dance. He forced Jones to keep the 6-bar intro intact. The material evidence is the direct injection box, the custom patch, the deliberate sonic estrangement. MTV was still refusing to play black artists. The racial blockade on album-oriented rock was absolute. Billie Jean didn't ask permission. It broke through with a bass line that sounded like nothing else on radio. Jackson's body, his dancing, his refusal to be contained by the soft pop category, all of it hinged on that intro. Unlike Diana Ross's calculated ambiguity, Jackson's move was pure sonic aggression. Next, we meet the artist who reclaimed her own name. At number 8, the Commodore's Brick House in April 1977 tells a story of erasure and correction. Like stack, that's a fact. Ain't holding nothing back now. The song came from an orange legal pad, 3 AM insomnia, Shirley Hannah King's handwriting, but Motown's hierarchy tried to bury her. Yeah, she's the one, the only one, built like an Amazon, yeah. The performing group members got the credit. The songwriting disappeared into the machine. William King stopped it. He told the producers, the label, the industry, "My wife wrote this." I can't take credit. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act amendments in 1974 and 1976 had made female financial autonomy legal. Now it became personal. Yeah, she knows she's built and knows how to please. Hannah King's refusal to vanish, King's refusal to steal. These acts were quieter than Jackson's baseline rebellion, but they were structural. House. Yeah, she's my cat. The material evidence is the legal pad itself, the handwriting, the insistence on attribution. For younger days, yeah. She knows she's built. Unlike the previous artists who fought against label resistance, this fight was internal, intimate, a man and woman refusing the old Motown machinery. Make a old man wish for younger days, yeah. Next, we meet an artist who built his entire empire on emotional exposure. Number 7 belongs to Stevie Wonder's Sir Duke, recorded in September 1983 at Mayfair Studios in London, a moment when age, gender, and legacy all collided. The resistance point came from Roger Davis and Capitol Records. Was Wonder a rock icon or an R&B legacy act? The question was designed to diminish him, to place him in a box labeled nostalgia. The material evidence includes fishnet stockings, a denim jacket, a synthesizer, but these details point to another artist's fight, another woman's refusal. Wonder's own battle was against the reduction of his genius to a single category. His body, his blindness, his refusal to perform acceptable disability, all of it became the text. The The Yamaha DX7 synthesizer represented the future. Wonder was being asked to represent the past, and he refused both categories. Unlike Shirley Hannah King's quiet insistence on attribution, Wonder's resistance was about claiming the present moment, not just correcting the record. Next, we meet an artist who sang herself out of a cage. At number 6, Chaka Khan's I'm Every Woman exploded in May 1978 at Atlantic Studios in New York City, and it was an act of calculated betrayal. Khan was still under contract to Rufus when she signed with Warner Brothers. Record solo. Her bandmates felt abandoned. The group dynamic was being eclipsed by her voice. She didn't apologize. She walked into the studio, demanded that her vocal track be prioritized over the instrumental mix, and recorded at 145 BPM, the exact threshold where disco crossed into pure physicality. The ARP 2600 synthesizer created a wall of sound, but Khan's voice cut through it like a blade. Her act was more aggressive than Diana Ross's calculated ambiguity or Stevie Wonder's category refusal. Khan was claiming the right to leave, to prioritize her own body, her own voice, her own future over the group's comfort. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act of 1974 had made this legal. Khan made it personal. Unlike the Commodore's internal correction or Wonder's category refusal, Khan's move was pure individualism. Next, we meet an artist who rewrote the rules of songwriting itself. Number 5 is Earth, Wind & Fire's Boogie Wonderland, recorded in September 1978 at Cherokee Studios in Los Angeles. And it was built on a refusal to write what the industry demanded. Allie Willis was the songwriter, but she existed in professional obscurity. The A-list songwriting circle was gatekept by men. Women were expected to write love songs to center the male protagonist's desire. Willis said no. She wrote a song that refused the male gaze, that centered female vocalists, the emotions, as co-leads, not background texture. The material evidence is Maurice White's briefcase, yellow legal pad, hand-scribbled lyrics, but the real artifact is the structure B of the song itself. Willis had weaponized the chorus, the hook, the moment where women's voices became the primary text, not the ornament. The 1978 Equal Rights Amendment extension had shifted the political landscape toward female autonomy. Willis translated that into sonic form. Unlike Chaka Khan's aggressive individualism, Willis's move was structural. She changed what was possible in the song itself. Next, we meet an artist who would define the mega diva archetype. At number 4, Whitney Houston's Saving All My Love for You arrived in March 1985 at Sigma Sound Studios in New York City, and it was a song about infidelity that Arista Records almost killed. The resistance was absolute. The other woman perspective, the explicit narrative of adultery, the fear of alienating white adult contemporary audiences. Clive Davis overruled the radio consultants. He told producer Michael Masser to keep the Mistress lyrics intact, to record Whitney in an isolated vocal booth with a single Neumann U87 microphone, zero reverb, forcing intimate, non-performative proximity. But no other man's gonna... The material evidence is that microphone, that isolation, that dry mix, the refusal to hide behind production, to let the body of the voice be the only text. My friends try and tell me. The 1984-1985 collapse of the girl group assembly line model meant that individual vocal identity now superseded label manufactured image. Feeling when you walk through that door. Houston's voice became the argument. Unlike Allie Willis's structural songwriting refusal, Houston's act was about claiming the right to sing, about desire without apology, without softening, without the church language that had protected respectability. Next, we meet the man who invented the language of desire itself. Number 3 belongs to Barry White's Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe, recorded in August 1974 at the record plant in Sausalito, California. And it was built on a voice that the industry wanted to erase.
Baby, it didn't take all of my life.
White's baritone was coded as female vulnerability by 20th Century Records executives. His hyper-masculine persona terrified them. He refused to let them edit his voice, refused to shrink the emotional exposure.
No matter how I try.
The material evidence is the custom-built 40-piece orchestral arrangement, the overdubbed, stuttering string section designed to mimic the physiological rhythm of a heartbeat. White said, I am the producer first, the singer second. His body, his voice, his refusal to perform traditional masculinity, all of it became the text. The 1974 Equal Credit Opportunity Act had made female financial autonomy legal. White's move was to claim emotional autonomy, to sing desire from a male body without apology or irony.
Give them all I want, and baby, that's no lie.
Unlike Whitney Houston's isolated vocal booth or Allie Willis's structural songwriting refusal, White's act was about claiming the right to be vulnerable while remaining undeniably powerful.
Girl, if I can only make you see and make...
Next, we meet the collective voice that unified the movement itself. At number 2, the OJ's Love Train in 1982-1983 became the song that everyone could claim, a collective movement masquerading as a single track. But the material evidence tells a darker story. A rejected master tape from the British group Bucks Fizz, Tina Turner's vocal performance, recorded in a single take to overwrite the existing arrangement.
Sorry for you.
The resistance point was Roger Davies and Capitol Records, the financial insolvency that made Tina Turner a nostalgia act at age 44, unmarketable and disposable. Turner burst into the studio and said, "It's a piece of crap, but I'll do it my way." She stripped the light pop reggae rhythm and replaced it with jagged, aggressive vocal delivery. The 1982 disco demolition aftermath had forced the industry to pivot from collective girl group aesthetics to the singular power soloist archetype. Turner's act was about claiming the right to transform material that wasn't hers, to make it her body, her voice, her power. Unlike Barry White's emotional vulnerability or any artist before her, Turner was reclaiming the right to return. Finally, we reached the moment that broke everything open. Number 1 is Michael Jackson's Thriller, November 1982 at Westlake Recording Studios. And it was the song that forced the industry to surrender. Quincy Jones wanted the intro shortened, the bass line softened. Jackson refused. The material evidence is the 1960s era plywood drum tube, the custom isolation box for the kick drum, the deliberate creation of a non-human heartbeat rhythm. MTV had erected a color barrier. CBS Records President Walter Yetnikoff issued a public ultimatum: air Michael Jackson or lose every video we own. The network capitulated. Jackson's body, his dancing, his refusal to be contained by any category, all of it was made visible on screens across America for the first time. Thriller wasn't a song, it was a breach. It was the moment when the industry's old rules finally shattered. The bass line, the drums, the mechanical heartbeat, all of it had been building toward this. Jackson's body became the primary text, unapologetic, undeniable, impossible to ignore. This is where the story ends, but the bodies keep moving.